What if I told you the thing you crave most isn't love or even connection, but being desperately, endlessly needed? Welcome back to Soft but Savage Diaries, where healing gets real and growth is always intentional. I'm your host, and today we're slicing into a subtle addiction, the need to be needed. Sound familiar? In the next 30 minutes, we'll break down why this pattern feels so safe, how it quietly erodes your peace, and most importantly, how to reclaim your worth without burning yourself out. We'll talk validation pathways, think of them as the brain's like button, and emotional labor, which is like carrying everyone's suitcase but your own. Ready for a deep dive? Let's map the 3-act journey. First, why this hunger hooks you. Second, how it sneaks into your relationships. And third, how you can evolve beyond it. Let's go. Let's dig into the psychology. Why does being needed feel so safe? On a neurological level, the validation pathway in your brain lights up when someone depends on you, kind of like a dopamine rush when your phone buzzes with notifications. It's instant proof you matter. But here's the twist: when your self worth is tied to being indispensable, you might accept anxiety or overcommitment just to maintain that feeling. Ever wonder why you tolerate late night crisis calls or say yes when you're already stretched? That's emotional armor in action, protection against the fear of abandonment. But armor can be heavy and suffocating. Are you protecting yourself or slowly losing yourself? Now, you might be thinking, isn't it good to be useful? Of course. But here's where the illusion of control comes in. Every time you fix someone's problem, your brain gets a reward, a tiny surge of serotonin, like a slot machine victory. But over time, this forms a reinforcement loop. The more you're needed, the safer you feel. Sounds harmless, right? But let me tell you a story. Imagine someone who's always the organizer, the fixer, the go to friend. Eventually, their friendships aren't about joy, but about service. That's when help becomes a habit instead of a choice. Are you feeling seen yet? Have you ever noticed how being needed sometimes costs you your peace? Here's the conflict. On the outside, you're the reliable one. On the inside, you're quietly exhausted. This is where emotional labor, a term for the invisible work of managing other people's feelings, sneaks in. It's like being the emotional janitor, mopping up messes that aren't yours. Before you know it, your boundaries blur. Does your helpfulness come from care or from a fear of becoming irrelevant? The answer isn't always comfortable, but it's the first step to clarity. Let's break down a savage truth. Sometimes overgiving isn't kindness, it's self preservation. You might over explain, overfunction, even fix problems no one asked you to fix. And you label it love. But is it? Or is it a quiet panic about being replaced if you stop performing? Here's a technical term: codependency. It's like planting your identity in someone else's garden. The roots eventually strangle your sense of self. Ask yourself, do you help to connect or to ensure your spot in someone's life? Pause for a second. What's really driving this? Often it's not generosity, but a fear of irrelevance. Imagine a workplace where you're indispensable at first. It feels powerful. But soon, every sick day, every vacation fills you with anxiety. You've built a castle on quicksand. The technical term here is attachment theory. We cling to roles that shield us from emotional uncertainty. But at what cost? Are you trading your rest, your dreams, just for a sense of belonging? Here's the breakthrough: you are allowed to be chosen without performing. Imagine a relationship where you're loved not for what you do, but for who you are. That's the difference between transactional and transformational relationships. If your worth is tied to someone's need, then exhaustion becomes your currency. Let's get real. Healthy relationships thrive on desire, respect, and reciprocity, not dependency. If you're only valued when you're on empty, is that really connection or just convenience? Have you ever felt like someone only calls when they need something? That's convenience masquerading as connection. Let me paint a scenario. You're always the shoulder to cry on, but when you need support, the line goes dead. This is classic emotional unavailability, where relationships are built on extraction instead of exchange. The technical term is emotional reciprocity. Think of it as a two-way street where both parties give and receive. Start asking, am I in a partnership or just a pit stop for someone else's problems? So, how do you break the addiction? It starts with a mindset shift. Instead of asking, how can I be useful? Ask, how can I be aligned? Alignment means choosing relationships and roles that nourish your spirit, not drain it. Here's another technique: self reflection. When tempted to jump in and fix, pause and ask, what do I need from myself right now? The difference is subtle but profound when you step out of rescue mode. You stop attracting people who need rescuing. Let's talk boundaries, your emotional immune system. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out, it's about protecting your peace. Picture boundaries like the walls of a fortress, strong but with open gates for genuine connection. Start by communicating your needs, even if it feels awkward. Practice saying, I can't help right now, but I care about you. Over time, this rewires your relational dynamics, attracting those who respect your limits and offer support in return. That's reciprocity, not rescue. Now, imagine a life where you're chosen, not needed. What would that look like? Relationships where you don't have to earn your place by sacrificing your peace. Spaces where your worth isn't measured by what you give away. This is self actualization, a growth process where your identity is rooted in self love, not external demand. The journey isn't always easy, but it's liberating. Let yourself envision, who do you become when you're free to simply be? Let's land this episode with 3 takeaways. First, your worth doesn't depend on being needed. Second, boundaries are the bridge from exhaustion to self respect. Third, real connection is built on reciprocity, not convenience. Here's your action step tonight. Ask yourself, where have I confused being needed with being loved? And how can I move toward being chosen, not used? Next time, we'll unravel the difference between healthy support and codependent rescue. Don't miss it. If you felt seen today, share this episode or leave a review. Remember, this is soft but savage, soft enough to heal, savage enough to evolve. Protect your peace and move with intention.